Good day, we are here with Mr. Rex Tinto to share us about his knowledge and insights about the 3R's, reduce, reuse, and recycle, and what would be its effect on our environment as well as the students. Good day, Rex.
Good day to all of you.
First, we want to thank you for having time for this interview.
You're welcome. I'm also grateful that you have chosen me because the voice of the students is important in terms of environmental issues nowadays, and the students like us are also responsible in doing some steps in order to preserve our environment.
We would like you to know, Mr. Tinto, that we chose you to be our interview because we would like you to voice out opinions and views of typical students about the current situation of our environment.
In other words, since you're a student, you are the perfect specimen for our research.
Okay, let's start.
So, to start, in your own opinion, in what ways does the 3R, reduce, reuse, recycle, increase the environmental awareness of the students?
So first, pertaining to the 3R, reduce, reuse, and recycle, it affects the environmental awareness of the students in terms of their thinking about the environment. Because the environment was given to us by God, and it should be nurtured, it should be taken care of. So as students, we should not detach ourselves from taking care of the environment because we also live in the same environment. So even though we have a lot of things to do, our studies, our family, we should not settle aside the responsibility that is given to us, and that is to take care of the environment.
We agree with you. So, you're telling us that students should play an integral part in helping the society in preserving the nature.
Yes, that's true. Because students nowadays, as we see, do not really place their concern on the environmental issues because they think that there are a lot of organizations or there are a lot of movements that pertain to the taking care of the environment. So I think now's the time that the students should be awakened to move, to make their step in helping the environment to gain back its true beauty.
So do you mean that these students are relying on these programs,
What programs?
like environmental programs and projects?
Like the 3R.
Yes.
I think some students do not rely on this because these things are not fully implemented. For example, in our schools or some universities like Mapua School of Technology, we have this 3R, the use, reuse, and recycle, because we can see that the garbage cans here they are separated with three categories: biodegradable, non-biodegradable, and plastics. So we can say that in our place in Mapua, we have the 3R, but in some universities or some schools or some places, we cannot fully conclude that they have this 3R. Maybe they do not have this 3R, but they have some ways or movements that can fully grasp the essence of the 3R, reduce, reuse, and recycle.
So Mr. Rex, how can 3Rs affect the behavior of the students?
So 3R affects the behavior of the students in terms of their intellect. Students nowadays are full of technology, because we know that technology is really advancing faster than we could ever imagine. So in terms of environmental awareness, students must instill in their minds that the environment is also their property or their responsibility. So using the 3R, the reduce, reuse, and recycle, these three steps can contribute a large or a huge change to our society, and especially to the environment.
Okay, it's my turn. Good morning.
Morning.
Okay, for my question, what are the effects of the environmental 3R program in our environment?
Yes, 3R. Going back to 3R, reduce, reuse, and recycle. it can bring a huge change in environment. Specifically talking, specifically speaking, we can say that those 3R can improve the way of living in our community, in our society. Because as a familiar saying goes, cleanliness is next to godliness, and the environment, as we see, is not as clean like in the past years. One example is the Pasig River. In a long time, the Pasig River has been full of garbage and has its black color. So we can see that the values and the ethics of the people about cleanliness is being forgotten to the environment. In that case, they forget that we or they should make some step to be aware in what is happening around our environment.
Follow-up question. Do you think information dissemination through schools or other institutions can help in implementing or gathering the news and information about the solutions or the current problems in the environment?
Yes, information and disseminations are a big help for students to be reminded of what is happening around our environment. But I think that it is not sufficient to keep the students in track of what is happening in our environment. So the government or the schools or universities should implement additional steps or additional measures in order for the students or in order for the citizens to be fully aware of what is happening.
Another follow-up question. Do you think that the government is making its move?
Yes, I can see that the government is making its move because we can see different movements in different places like tree planting, run for a cause or run for
like the Pasig River.
yes, like run for the Pasig River or other measures that can help to the preservation of the environment. But as being realistic, we can say that these measures are implemented, but they do not that step do not possess its effect.
As what you said a while ago, 3Rs can change the community. What specific changes?
So 3R can bring order to the community because realistically speaking, we cannot live in a dirty or filthy environment.
Like Manila.
Yes. And living in a clean environment brings peace. So it brings order and peace to the citizens and to the people who come and by to that particular place. So 3R might be a small step because it only consists of 3 basic steps. But if we are dedicated and we are committed to the preservation and the preservation of the environment, these 3 little steps can bring a huge change.
Okay, right. Okay, Mr. Dito. This 3R ways, don't you think that it has a bad effects for our society, for our children? Because you know that there are many things that we need to do and maybe a risk of life like that. So what do you think?
So 3R, in my own opinion, does not have its bad effects because we are doing the reduce, the reuse, and the recycle in order to preserve the environment that we live in. So what we are doing is to care and to preserve what we have.
So you're telling me that it's in a way of natural way.
Yes. But in terms of, for example, in the time that we have, because I know that as students we are we have a very hectic schedule.
Yes.
The 3R, the reduce, reuse, and recycle only requires a little amount of time. Maybe in a day we might dedicate 30 minutes. That's enough because that small time can contribute, can largely contribute the preservation of the environment.
So we students should practice now.
Yes, as early as now, we should take the step to implement the 3Rs.
So, Mr. Rex, nowadays students are sometimes irresponsible in terms of environmental issues. Do you think 3R should be mandatory?
I think the 3R should be mandatory because these environmental issues have been alarming to us people, because the environmental concerns and issues, these are issues that cannot be solved within a day. These are serious issues, and what is at stake on these issues is our lives, is our future. So maybe the 3Rs might not be mandatory as soon as possible, but some environmental preservation steps should be continued to be implemented. But in terms of 3R, it might be a good opinion to be mandatory in order to preserve the environment.
What can you say about the current environmental programs and projects that aim to save Mother Earth?
So in terms of environmental programs, I am grateful because there are still people that have this mindset to take care of the environment. Because as we can see, there are a lot of effects bad effects that people do to the environment. For example, the global warming.
Typhoon Ondoy.
Yes, Typhoon Ondoy and the Habagat, the recent Habagat. We can say that that was truly a catastrophe.
So
And
it's,
earthquakes, landslides, everywhere we can see that. So these things are very alarming to us. And as you have said, these environmental movements or programs are very essential for the continuing of the preservation of the environment. So we may not see its effect. As soon as we do it, but if we will do it in long term, we might see the change or the effect, the result of that environmental steps.
okay.
You're really good at this.
Thank you.
Words from the president.
So,
Thank you.
Glad. What answers did you have? So next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.